Was the Apostle Paul the original Antichrist? Former minister and Bible college graduate Jeffrey Daugherty raises this and other staggering questions from the New Testament itself. The Christian Whistleblower asks if Jesus' original message has been warped into a fear and guilt-based control matrix. Here's Ali with more.
Thanks, Seb. Daugherty's 35 years of research challenge everyone to consider new perspectives and ask themselves, just what lies behind my religion? Are we born with original sin or the spark of divinity within?
Deep questions, Ali. Thanks. The Christian Whistleblower. We'll be watching.
It's late night in the Heartland. Good to see you here. Okay, everybody, I hope you're ready for some unindoctrination because we got some coming your way. Wall-to-wall, treetop tall, straight out the Heartland. Tomorrow night will be Wednesday, and we'll have Mike King with us. Looking forward to doing that on a weekly basis. And then on Thursday night, it's Christmas Eve, and we've got one of the most shocking messages I think that I've ever brought. It's going to be called The 7 Places Jesus Shed His Blood, going back to my old evangelist days, but making it much more real and much more true. Tonight, we're going to be looking at some of the same ideas. We're going to look at the United States of America as the whore of Babylon. I know you've heard a lot of different things, a lot of different ways, and guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I have a major announcement to make. Not only are we broadcasting live on YouTube, not only are we broadcasting live on Twitter via Periscope, not only are we live on Twitch, where our audience has increased by 400%, it's up to 4 people, so that's great. But we're also back on Facebook Live right now as we speak. Can you imagine that? We're back on Facebook, and hopefully we'll bring that audience back that was on Facebook. And we're looking forward to reaching out to all of those people. And, of course, we're on WBCQ as well, shortwave. We're on WBCQ 7.490 and 6.160 megahertz, all the podcast platforms, including iHeartRadio, lots of different places. We always want you to be able to find us. And to that end, if you ever get to the place where you can't find me, if something happens that has been kind of happening along the way, you can always go to jeffreydaugherty.com. I'll always be there. And folks, you can see here, if you're listening on WBCQ, please come up here and hit me on the contact button. Let me know you're listening. If you want to help spread this work of unindoctrination, go ahead and hit that button right there. And we're moving. We have now linked up with Library. Everything that I put on YouTube automatically goes to Library. Only they don't censor it on Library. Odyssey is where I'm putting little 5-minute shows, Take 5 with the Christian Whistleblower. So please follow me over here on these platforms. And folks, it's exciting. The Rods of Truth are back for a limited time. You see people asking questions of them. You can get your own, a limited production, 25 sets. I cut all the metal today. They'll be getting ready to go out within the next day or two. $50 post-paid, only in the USA. Only in the USA. I can't send the rods anywhere else. All you have to do to order your rods is hit the donate button here. Put your address in the mailing notes. If you can't, for some reason, fit it in there, you can just go up here on the contact and, send me your address. And, folks, we're really excited to be rolling out some new things. You know that optimization is the daily choice. I talk about the sleep spray. Man, I used to be up till 3:30 every night because I'm so high when I get off the show here. Now I take my sleep spray from My Daily Choice at whistleblowercbd.com. And I'm telling you, it's almost like knockout drops. I'm asleep within 15, 20 minutes. I sleep very soundly. I wake up earlier than I normally wake up. It is one of the best products that I've ever had. It's really changing my life. And I know a lot of you have trouble sleeping. Just go to HempWorks, or the best way to do is just go to either here to the website and click the My Daily Choice logo, or go to whistleblowercbd.com. And you can find the sprays there and all the other great products that they offer. Don't forget about Focus Life Force Energy. And this is one we'll talk about more, Bitlocity, trying to bring you guys into the modern age of Bitcoin and give you a way to kind of passively earn some of that and introduce you to it. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. But tonight, we're really going to talk about the USA, the Whore of Babylon, deism, protocols, and independence. So what do you say we go ahead and get started with that? Because it's probably a tad longer than what I'm used to doing on this show, because this show is really about your phone calls. But let's jump into this. And I'm going to try to be very careful because, we're glad to be back on Facebook broadcasting, but we have to be careful what we say there. And Delaney, if you call in, don't drop the N word anymore. I think that's what God has busted. They're telling us for last time. Even though you're black, but, we just can't be doing that for whatever reason. So let's talk about this, ladies and gentlemen. The United States of America, the Whore of Babylon, deism, protocols, and American independence, both in 1776 and today. Deep, deep stuff, powerful stuff. And I have to say, one of the better thumbnails that I've come up with in quite some time. You see, it's the Whore of Babylon with the Betsy Ross flag in the back. I kind of like that. Good job, Jeff. Way to go. All right, let's get into this, folks. And we have to start at the beginning. And in this case, the beginning is deism. What is deism? Well, deism, folks, is the philosophical position that rejects revelation as a source of religious knowledge. Now, that just completely blows the mind of almost everyone that's listening to me here tonight. What do you mean it rejects revelation as a source of spiritual knowledge? Well, because today all you do is search for a revelation. It's called looking for a sign, searching for a sign, searching for a guru, searching for an angel, searching for an ascended master, searching for a spirit guide, searching for a preacher, searching for a teacher. You're searching. And somehow you've got to the place where you have accepted this lie. My shortwave listeners, all of our other listeners, you've accepted this lie that the truth of spirituality and the truth of divinity comes to you from revelation from other people. That's crazy. That's crazy. What happened to personal revelation? What happened to personal experience? Well, that's what deism was and is all about. Deism says that we reject revelation. If you got to tell me something about God that I wouldn't know, then it didn't come from God. Deists reject revelation as a source of religious knowledge and assert that reason, thinking it, figuring out for yourself, reason and the observation of creation are sufficient to establish the existence of a supreme being or creator of the universe, and that having that revelation, you'll act right. Doesn't that make a lot more sense than thinking you'll act right if you're afraid of burning in hell forever? Think about that a second while I take a drink of hot coffee, which I really need. If you do go on YouTube or you do speak, don't ever drink cold stuff. You'll get polyps. It's very, very bad for you. Drink something hot. So the study of truths revealed by reason is called natural theology. Listening to what divinity says to you, mining the divinity in your own spirit, looking at the divinity as revealed in creation, that's called natural theology. The way we do it today in America and in most of the countries that you're listening to me, that's artificial theology. When you March into a building and sit down and listen to some person telling you what's revelation from some dusty old book. That's artificial. That's artificial theology. When you go on YouTube and look for some crazy guy or some silly girl to tell you what revelation is, that is artificial revelation. The best that those of us who are talking heads on YouTube can hope to do is to inspire you to search within yourself for your revelation. That's natural revelation, what you receive through your divinity, your sovereignty, your freedom, and what you perceive in creation itself. And to be frank with you, most of the people that are in Christianity that are decent people, this is what they think anyway. Well, Jeff, Christianity's got some good stuff. The only good stuff that Christianity has is stuff they stole from other people. Be a good person. Be kind to your neighbor. Be kind to children. Be kind to animals. Give water to those that have need. Visit the widows and the fatherless and the prisoners. That's not Christianity. That's deism. Look around and see that you're created and treat people like they're creations too. That's deism. It's not Christianity. Christianity is get saved so they can forgive you for the sin they gave you. They want to save you from the sin they gave you. And it's eternal fire insurance so you don't burn and go to hell. And you get to consign everybody else that doesn't believe like you believe to hell. That's what Christianity is really about. And it's an unnatural, artificial religion. But the study of truth revealed by reason and by nature, that's natural theology. And during the Age of Enlightenment, in Britain and France, and then in America, because we came out of Britain, philosophers began to reject revelation as a source of knowledge and to appeal only to the truths that they felt could be established by reason alone. A revelation that comes to you through somebody else is not a revelation. It's secondhand information, and that's a poor excuse for revelation. I'm trying to provoke you, teach you, piss you off, fire you up, do whatever it takes to help you cut out the middleman. Even if you think he died on some old rugged cross on a hill far away, I don't care if he died in a wreck in an old Chevrolet. What the hell's he doing between you and the divine? It's craziness. And if you could get your rationality back for a second, you'd realize it. Philosophers then and great philosophers now reject revelation as a source of knowledge and appeal only to truths that can be established by reason and by creation. And that was called deist or deism. Deism, as a distinct intellectual movement, declined towards the end of the 18th century. That's key. Because what's the end of the 18th century? Now, you may not know this. I'm not trying to be condescending. I'm trying to help you out. The 18th century means from 1701 to 1799. The 19th century starts in 1800. I know it's a little confusing, but deism started declining at the end of the 18th century. Why is that important? Because what happened at the end of the 18th century? 1776 was towards the end of the 18th century, wasn't it? Keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Keep that in mind. Very, very important. Very, very powerful. And let's make sure I don't skip any slides. Okay, so deism and America's founding fathers. In the United States of America today, there's still a great deal of controversy over whether the founding fathers were Christians, deists, or something in between. And the only reason that there is any controversy is because Christians have been conditioned to be irrational. You've been lied to for almost 300 years. And the lie is that America was founded as a Christian nation. No, it was not. Period. The end. And if you want to argue in the chat room, you can't. You have to wait until I open the lines. And they're not open right now. Deism was an important influence on the thinking of Thomas Jefferson, who wrote the Declaration of Independence and the principles of religious freedom asserted in the First Amendment. That's not a Christian amendment. It's a deist amendment. Other founding fathers who were influenced by deism were Ethan Allen, you thought he just made furniture, Benjamin Franklin, James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, and George Washington himself. Now, Thomas Paine is especially noteworthy, and we talk about him every Sunday right now, for both his contributions to the cause of American Revolution and to deism, and they were supposed to go hand in hand. We got the first part. We got the lead and fighting revolution. We didn't get the second part, which was the spiritual revolution. We're trying to bring that about right now. So Paine brought his contributions to the cause of American Revolution and to deism. His Age of Reason was short, readable, and probably the only deist tract that continues to be read and be influential today. And we talk about it every Sunday right now here on this channel at noon Central Time. So deism started declining, ladies and gentlemen. And it started declining in direct proportion to the Christian revivalist movements, such as Pietism and Methodism, all these where the Pentecostals and the Adventists and the Mormons and the Witnesses all came from at the end of the 19th century. It emphasized a personal relationship with God by taking away a personal relationship with God. It's really weird. You got to have a personal relationship with God, but you can only find that personal relationship through a preacher, through a teacher, through getting saved, so he can save you from the sin he gave you. When you really don't have any sin, you're born with the spark of divinity within. But anyway, and it was also the rise of anti-rationalist and counter-enlightenment philosophies, because the Enlightenment was, I'm divine, I'm sovereign, I'm free. And the anti-enlightenment was, no, you got to listen to us because you don't know what you're doing, and we do. It is correct to say that deism declined in the sense of the word deism, but it wouldn't be correct, or it'd be misleading to say that deism died, because deist ideas and influences live on. But there's not many of us talking about deistic type influences. There's not many of us talking about deistic type thought, because frankly, it doesn't pay very well. It's not good clickbait. It doesn't get you a bunch of subscribers. It doesn't get you a bunch of ad revenue. It's just true, but people aren't worried about truth. They're worried about dollars. Dollar, dollar, dollar. That's all they want. They don't care about truth. They just want money. They don't care about truth. They want clicks. They don't care about truth. They want views. And Christianity pays the bills. Prophecy pays the bills. Fear porn pays the bills. Deism builds better men and women, but it don't pay the bills, so that's why very few people do it. One of the major activities of the deists, biblical criticism, evolved into its own highly technical discipline, of which I'd like to think I've turned into an art form. I like to think that I've turned biblical criticism into an art form, because I break that bitch down into its little bitty bitchy pieces. And I like to cuss when I'm talking about the Bible, because I know it pisses people off. And you've been so cold and dead and lifeless and dull and listless in your church. If I throw a few little cuss words in, I might actually wake your tired ass up and get you to actually do something. I might get you to actually crack that Bible for the first time in 6 months. Blow the dust off it, take the Penthouse and the Playboy and the Hustler off the top of it, and actually read it. Because most of you that call yourself Christians ain't never read the thing cover to cover. The only time you open is when the preacher tells you to turn to this and that. In 2001, the American Religious Identification Survey estimated that between 1990 and 2001, the number of self-identifying deists grew from 6,000 to 49,000. And I didn't even have anything to do with that. I wonder what happened between 2014 and now. In 2008, they found that 70% of Americans believe in a personal God, and that 12% believe in a deist concept of the divine as a higher power rather than a personal God. And people are starting to move that way. Some of you Christians are starting to move that way. You want to say that you believe in a higher power, but for some reason you still want to hold on to that blood. You'll find out Thursday night why you're trying to hold on to that blood, because you're an adrenochrome junkie. You're trying to hold on to that blood. This blood's not for you. And the Age of Enlightenment in America was distinguished by an emphasis upon economic liberty, republicanism, and religious tolerance, as clearly expressed in the United States Declaration of Independence. And wasn't it a better world when we were focused on economic liberty instead of the economic slavery that we have now? Wasn't it a better world when we were focused on being an independent constitutional republic instead of this quasi-communist on the verge of being taken over mess we got right now? And wasn't it better when we believed in religious tolerance instead of a bunch of Christians up on YouTube telling everybody they're going to go to hell if they don't believe exactly the way they believe? I don't get it, man. I really don't get it. And because we actually have the audacity not to believe in some old dusty book, and I've forgotten more about this book than most of you will ever know, because I preached it for 20 years. I got a college degree in it. I got 100,000 hours of study in this bitch. But because we decide to throw that old dusty book away, yeah, I just threw it on the ground. I'd spit on it, but I'm afraid I'd miss and hit my carpet. Because we decide to throw that old dusty thing away, because we reject prophecy, because it's nothing but poetry, juggling, jesting, and singing. I've proven that on this channel. Because we have rejected revealed religion, because we don't think that God's got to go through you to get to me. I'm sorry, I don't care. Ooh, almost knocked over some coffee. I don't care how holy you think you are. I don't care what kind of a spirit guide you think you are. Divinity don't got to go through you to get to me. Divinity can come straight to me, bypassing spirit guide, bypassing ascended master, bypassing guru, bypassing preacher, bypassing teacher, bypassing dumbass on YouTube or dumbass-et on YouTube very easily. And if you don't like that, you're in the wrong place. And when you reject prophecy because it's foolishness and it's limish, when you reject miracles because a miracle is just something you don't understand how to do yet, and when you reject revealed religion, meaning it's got to come through a spirit guide, an ascended master, an angel, a guru, a preacher, a teacher, a dumbass, or a dumbassette on YouTube, once you reject all that, then you become a deist. You become I'm tuned in to the divine, I'm sovereign, I'm free. And back in 1776 and for a while thereafter, most of the political leaders of the age, Jefferson, Washington, Franklin, they believed that. And they're the ones that sat down and wrote a Declaration of Independence. They're the one that sat down and wrote a Bill of Rights. And we become so enlightened today that we sit down and write this bullshit bill with 6,000 pages that nobody read and the president's going to veto, thank goodness. But deism declined as evangelical Christianity kicked off. And we've been in a bad place ever since then. Now, we all know that the protocols of the learned elders of Zion is a ridiculous total forgery. It's not real. It's not true. Nobody that's smart believes that the protocols of the learned elders of Zion is real. We know it's fake. We know it's false. We know it's phony. Nobody believes it. You'd have to be a complete, total dummy to believe that the protocols of the learned elders of Zion has anything. We all know that it's a fabricated anti-Semitic text. We all know that it's fake. And it purports to describe a limish plan for global domination. We all know it's phony and fake and false. Come on. It's just a conspiracy theory. And the fact is that it's plagiarized from several earlier sources. Some of them weren't even anti-Semitic in nature. And it was first published in Russia in 1903 It was translated into multiple languages and disseminated internationally in the early part of the 20th century. Henry Ford paid to have like 500,000 copies printed. But where did it come from, and what does it matter? Well, towards the end of the 18th century, remember what happened at the end of the 18th century? Oh, yeah, the American Revolution, the deists, the enlightened ones. Towards the end of the 18th century, the Russian Empire housed the world's largest Limnish population. The largest Limnish population of the world was in Russia back at the end of the 18th century. And local Limnish affairs were organized through the Kahal. That's where the word cabal comes from. It was a semi-autonomous Limnish government within Russia and within every other country they lived in. And as this autonomous community within their country grew and grew and grew, Russians became more and more uncomfortable with that idea. They became more and more hardline in upholding the banner of their own religion, their own nationality, and their own national identity as a people. They got offended that these other people were coming in and trying to take over their country. Kind of like we're getting offended when people are breaking into our country and trying to make their own little countries within our country. We love people that work hard and come to this country and become Americans and share in the American dream with us. We don't care if you're red, yellow, black, white. You're all precious in our sight as long as you're patriots, as long as you love this nation. But if you want to come up, break in over here, steal from our social system, and never learn the language and never assimilate and keep your own individual communities and then start burning and destroying and protesting, we got a problem with that. We're going to have issues, you and I. And that's the same thing that was happening over in Russia in the end of the 18th century. And the protocols, which we all know are fake and phony and false, they're just ridiculous. Nobody believes in the protocols. We know that they're fake. Of course they're fake. But they were taken from writings from this age, this 1776 age, and from the mindset of people with a 1776 mindset, people that would soon first be the victims of the first modern communist revolution over there in Russia, happened in 1920. The big takeaway here is that the people that plagiarized and wrote the ridiculous protocols were people that were subjected to a very similar situation to the one we find ourselves in today. The time of the American Revolution, which was spurred by the American Age of Enlightenment. And folks, if we've ever needed a new age of enlightenment, we need it today. If we've ever needed a new age of enlightenment, we need it right now. If we've ever needed to give up on the silliness, foolishness of prophecy, we need to give up now. If we ever needed to give up on the silly foolishness, second hand me down, mama bird, boop, boop, blah, into baby bird mouth system of revelation that we have now, it's today. We need a new and a fresh awakening in this country. We need a new and a fresh enlightenment. We need to stop being baby birds in the nest, waiting for other dirty birds, daddy birds, mama birds to come and barf revelation down our throats. We need to start searching for our own worms instead of settling for the prophet, the guru, the spirit guide, the ascended master's barf. Aren't you tired of eating somebody else's barf? I know I am. So, Jeff, what is all this getting to? Well, in 1776, there was already a communist plan in place to destroy the greatest Western nations of the day. But we got to remember, back in 1776, we were just getting started. America was insignificant back in 1776. Hell, they didn't even think we'd make it to 1779. So the communist plan for world domination was focused on the great Western nations of the day. That was Russia and Germany. But then when the American Revolution happened, and when it became a revolution based on enlightenment, that was a whole new crisis. That was a whole new crisis. That was a whole new enemy for the Limish cabal. Now, I imagine they were focused on the great powers, focused on Russia, focused on Germany, yet some people within them had the foresight to say, you know what? Russia, based on Russian Orthodox religion, Germany, based on Lutheranism. That's a problem, but this shit they got going on over there, them crazy ones that left England wearing the three-cornered hats and playing Yankee Doodle, those crazy bitches got something over there called enlightenment, and that shit's scary. That's what the Kabbalists, the communist Limish Kabbalists over in Russia. And if you don't think that the Russian Revolution was Limish, then tell me why 300 out of 350 commissars were Limish after the revolution, not Russian. But anyway, they're like, you know what? These Russians, they bother us a little bit. These Germans, they bother us a little bit. But it's these crazy-ass bitches in America, these mofos with this enlightenment. They're a whole new kind of crisis. They're the real enemy. They're the real potential future enemy. Yeah, we're still going to take out Russia, and they did. We're going to take out Germany, but they got stopped. And sooner or later, we're going to have to go for these bitches in America, but we got to bring out something special for them, because they got this American experiment going on, and it's based around enlightenment, and that is scary. America's got that deist thing going. It's way more dangerous than the Russian Orthodox religion. It's way more dangerous than Lutheran. It's way more dangerous than regular old Christianity. Enlightenment was the most dangerous thing, way more dangerous than religion. So they launched an assault on American deism. I'll say it again. America was not established as a Christian nation. It was different than Russia. It was different than Germany. That's what made it so dangerous. And maybe that's why they're launching this attempted communist takeover now, because they see us coming back. They see us rising again. They see the age of enlightenment rising again. It was a land born of an age of enlightenment, America was, where nationality and reason ruled the day. Rationality, but nationality too, ruled the day, and where the divinity was found in creation, including humanity. Far more dangerous than Christian Russia or Christian Germany. America was a people that had the audacity to believe that they were divine, sovereign, and free intrinsically, born with the spark of divinity within, not filled with original sin. They had the audacity to believe that they didn't need a book. They had the audacity to believe that they didn't need any faith to confirm it. They had the audacity to believe that they were bound to each other and to this earth by the morality of doing the right thing to all elements of creation. Don't you miss those days? We're bringing sexy back, baby. We're bringing back that intrinsic knowledge that we're divine, we're sovereign, we're free. We're bringing back that intrinsic. That means it's in you. We're bringing back the idea that we don't need that dusty book that I just threw on the floor and I just put my foot on. We don't need that dusty book anymore. All we need is to know that this place was created by a divine creator, and we were created by a divine creator. So we should recognize ourselves as divine, and we should recognize all the other people as divine too, and treat them accordingly. We should all do the right thing according to all the elements of creation. And Christianity, that ain't yours. You stole it from us. And we're stealing it back. Whoops. Oh, good. I think I went one too far. Nope. Here we go. So the cabal, the Limish communist New World Order, brought out their biggest guns on the biggest enemies. I'm going to quote from a guy named Mervyn L. Miller. He said, I've been studying I said this, not Mervyn Miller. I said that I've been studying the Bible and Bible prophecy for over 40 years. I know I don't look old enough, but I really have. I've been studying the Bible for over 40 years, over 100,000 hours of study. And not once have I heard the great Russian Empire of old ever described as the whore of Babylon. Never. Not once have I ever heard the great German Empire of yesteryear called the whore of Babylon. Not once. This tag of the whore of Babylon, as far as it relates to modern nations, has been reserved for the United States of America. I know, it's the Catholic Church, it's the Rome. Just try and stay in context with me for a minute. That moniker, whore of Babylon, has always been reserved for the United States of America. And here's a key for you. The United States of America is the primary focus of Bible prophecy today, but Bible prophecy is not what you think it is. Bible prophecy is scripted prophecy. It's scripted prophecy. It's a modern invention. And the United States of America is the whore of Babylon, as discussed in Revelation 17, and I'm going to prove that to you. Now we'll get into Mervyn Miller. Today, the preachings of misguided but media-supported evangelical Christian Zionists have convinced the Christian community to support this campaign. So true. And by the way, Christian evangelical Zionism is communism. This largely came about after the publication of Scofield's reference Bible. Cyrus Scofield was a forger, a felon, and a lawyer. He was hired by the Rothschilds to write this dispensational reinterpretation of biblical events and doctrine, the Scofield Reference Bible. And the writing and promotion of this Bible was a massive effort to subvert true religion to serve Zionist and New World Order interests instead. Through subtle interpretations, the evangelical Christian community has come to unquestionably support the Lemish state and perpetual war, and to do what they have to do to bring on the communist New World Order. The Christians are so deceived today that they don't know that what they teach and what they preach is exactly the same as communism. I went through the 7 seals of Revelation. It's the same thing as communism. Read how it ends at the end of Revelation. One guy ruling the whole world with one religion and an iron fist, killed everybody else, ruling from one city, one place, one guy, one world religion, one world government, New World Order. It's the same exact thing at the end of the communism story as it is at the end of the Christian story. It's because communism and Christianity are the same thing, and they're made by the same people. Look it up. Who started every single communist revolution in history? Who wrote the Bible? Look it up. Throughout the 20th century, with incredible support from the Rothschild-controlled Oxford Press, various editions of Scofield's Bible would actually create a new religion called Communist Judeo-Christianity, with words and meanings through deceptive footnotes. Modern evangelical eschatological Christianity is a fusion of Christianity and rabbinic Judaism. You got to understand this. AD 70, Cyrus marches into Jerusalem, destroys everything. Destroys all of the scrolls, destroys everything. The Dead Sea Scrolls are fake. The Nag Hammadi's fake. I proved it. It was all destroyed. And what Titus and Domitian did, Titus, what was their dad's name? The first emperor. Titus, Domitian. What they did was they hired the Jewish scribes. They said, okay, we destroyed all of your stuff. We want you to rewrite it. But we wanted you to rewrite it within these bounds. And then they said, oh, yeah, we want you to write this thing called the Bible, too, because we're going to create this thing called Christianity. Both Christianity and Rabbinic Judaism, that's Judaism from AD 70 to now, both were created by Rome, by the very same stable of Jewish scribes. And it was created by 96 AD, the end of Domitian. By the way, Merlin Miller is an independent film director, writer, and producer. He was a 2012 presidential candidate for the American Third Position Party. He graduated from the United States Military Academy at West Point and served in the U.S. Army, where he commanded 2 units. That's who I was quoting. Now, let's look at the Whore of Babylon as the United States of America. Thank you, sweetheart. Let's look at this. I did this a little different tonight because I want to show you how I do what I do. Not to show off, even though it's pretty sexy, but I wanted to show you what I do so you can do what I do. This is Revelation 17 on the left. And what's in pink, and if you're on the shortwave or if you're on somewhere where you can't see, just come over to the Christian Whistleblower on YouTube and you can check it out like the rest of us. In pink are the words that we're going to look at in detail. And then over there on the right, I've taken and showed you what some of those words are. We'll go through that first section of this script. The great whore that sitteth upon many waters. We're going to show you how we break this down. If you break it down like I'm going to show you in a minute, but when you break it down, the great whore means great. The word great is megas, and it kind of reminds me of MAGA. Does it remind you of MAGA, Cynthia? Does megas remind you of MAGA a little bit? Yeah. And what does that mean? That means MAGA's great. I love me some MAGA. I'm MAGA, MAGA, MAGA. I'm your MAGA. I'm your MAGA. MAGA means great. Megas means great. And, okay, the great whore. Forget about the silliness. The great whore. Does that mean she was a really good whore? No, that means she was large, great in the widest sense. That means that she was mighty, that she was more important. Oh, so it doesn't really mean like great. It means large, mighty, more important. And the word whore is the word porne. Could be a prostitute, could be a harlot, but it also could be an idolatrous community. And remember who wrote this. Revelation was written by the rat bastards people. Revelation was written at the dictation of Rome. Revelation was written to create a new religion. So the people that knew religion felt like this thing that is the great whore was a large, mighty, very, very important idolatrous community. Ooh, you mean it wasn't Katie? What's her name at the, I was going to say Katie Holmes. What's her name? The other Katie at the Super Bowl? No. It was a large, mighty, important idolatrous community. Idolatrous in the sense of they wouldn't go along with what these people that wrote the dusty book were trying to get you to believe. And she sitteth upon many waters. What does sitteth mean? The word is kathamai, enthroned. Oh, like a queen. Upon many waters, which is polis hudor. Plenteous, great in amount, and hudor is often used of many peoples. So you can believe that this was some hoe riding a beast, and you don't know what many waters is, so you just ignore it. Or you can wake up and realize, oh, this was a large, great, important community of people that were against what this Bible says, like those guys in 1776 were against revelation, against prophecy, against people being in charge and saying we're divine, we're sovereign, we're free ourselves, just like that. That kind of an idolatrous community. And that it would grow to sit upon many waters. It would rule many peoples. It would be a queen over many peoples. How many people dying, literally risking their lives to try to get here? How many people risking their lives to try to get here while you silly bitches protest this place and support those that protest this place? Shame on you. So that's how you do it. It's very easy when you do it that way. It makes so much sense when you do it that way. Now, let's go into the actual text, and I'll show you how you do what I just did so you can do it yourself, and you don't have to listen to some idiot on YouTube anymore. So let's go to the next verse. See, this is what we saw. We saw the great whore that sits upon many waters. We know what that is now. We know what that is now. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So let's look at those words and see what they mean. This is how you study the Bible, not listen to some dumbass on YouTube. What does it mean, the kings of the earth? Well, it means the kings, the rulers of the earth, the emperors, the people that are in charge. They have been immoral with her. What does that mean? They fornicated with them. They practiced idolatry. Do you really think it means they're all fucking? Oh, language alert. Do you really think it means they're all fucking? Can you say fucking on Facebook? I'm not sure. Do you really think it means they're all fornicating? Of course not. Well, they might be, but it doesn't mean they're fornicating. It means that they're practicing idolatry. They're doing things against what the people that wrote this book wanted them to do. Remember, the people that wrote this book wanted them to believe they had original sin, wanted them to believe that they got to come to them to save them from the sin they gave them, and wanted them to listen to guys in dresses and girls in dresses telling them what's real, prophecy, the preacher, the teacher. And they're saying, no, no, no. Remember, they were of the Enlightenment. We're divine, we're sovereign, we're free, we don't need thee. That's idolatry of the people that wrote the book. And it was spreading all over the world. Wow, they were committing idolatry. They were going against the plan. And those who dwell on the earth, they were intoxicated. They were drunk. They were made drunk. They become drunk with what? They became drunk with the wine. What do you mean the wine? The wine, the wine of what? Of her immorality. What's her immorality? It's that porneia again. Her idolatry. So what this is saying is that they had to do something about this US of A because this enlightenment shit was starting to spread. And we can't have that because it's idolatry and it messes up our plan for a communist new world order. We can't have these divine, sovereign, and free people because they won't listen to us. They won't do what they're told. And you're fixing to find that out today, folks who are trying to take over this nation right now. It's not too late for you to stop before it gets really, really bad for you. So they were drunk with her fornication, right? They were drunk with this idea of enlightenment. They were drunk with this idea of enlightenment. And then, what's the source of all this? It was in a wilderness. What's a wilderness? A solitary, desolate waste of a place. What was the United States before the Patriots came here? It was a wilderness. Woods everywhere. It was a wilderness. And in this wilderness rises up a woman. Do you know that in Russia it's the fatherland, the Vaterland? Or in Germany it's the Vaterland. But here in America, we think of America as a woman. You think of the Statue of Liberty, a lady, Lady Liberty. So out of the midst of the wilderness comes this woman, America, sitting on a scarlet beast, covered with blasphemous names and having 7 heads and 10 horns. Some of you really think there's really heads and really horns. Some of you really believe that. Wow. But they're covered with blasphemous names. What's blasphemous mean? Abusive or scurrilous, blasphemy. If you believe that everybody's born with original sin and that they got to come to you so you can save them from the sin you gave them, and they got to listen to you and read your book and do what you say or they're going to hell, words like liberty are blasphemous. Words like freedom are blasphemous. Words like independence are blasphemous. Words like enlightenment are blasphemous. And they had 7 heads. This woman had 7 heads. Do you really think she had 7 heads? She had 7. What's 7? 7 is a perfect finished work. The number 7 in the script often has the meaning of a finished work. America had become a finished work. It had 10 horns. What's 10 mean? 10 means 10. Double entendre. Symbolic as well as literal. 10 what? 10 horns. What are horns, ladies and gentlemen? Horns. Horns, oh, symbols of power. Why did they launch this attack on this poor woman in the wilderness? Because they knew she was going to rise up in perfection, and they knew she was going to have tenfold power. And we did, and we do. We did, and we do. She held in her hand a golden cup. This is the richest, most powerful nation on earth, and we're not making any excuses. And if you haven't participated in the abundance, you might be lazy. I'm just saying. We had a golden cup full of abominations. What were the abominations? Again, those detestable, accursed things like freedom, like liberty, like work hard, like be an entrepreneur, like invent stuff, like make your own business, like find your great basic purpose, like flourish, like prosper, like grow, like be independent, like not have to worry about whether Nancy going to give you $600 or not because you got your own damn money. We're talking about real freedom. We're talking about real opportunity. We're talking about real divinity, real sovereignty, real freedom. That's why we got Whistleblower Wealth on the website now. Trying to drag you kicking and screaming into financial independence and financial unindoctrination too. So she had this cup full of liberty and freedom and independence, all these impurities. They're impure, unclean and impure in the sense of the people that wrote this, which want you in a fear and guilt, blood magic, mind control matrix. All the stuff I'm saying is impure and unclean to the people that want you in the fear and guilt, blood magic, mind control matrix. And the sexual immorality, again, it's not sexual immorality. It's fornication, whoredom. It is promiscuity. It is being unfaithful to what they want us to do. It's unchastity. It's immorality to what they want us to do. We are little hoes that go out and think that we're divine, sovereign, and free. How dare we? And they don't want us to do it. They don't want us to do it. And we, not only will we do it, but we talk about doing it. We don't just sit over quietly and do it. We got to tell everybody about our business. We got to say, look, we're divine, we're sovereign, we're free. We wear t-shirts that say it. We go on YouTube and we say it. We say that we are idolaters because we say no to your shit. And we're going to do the things that you say are abominations, like be divine, be sovereign, be free, and say we don't need thee to get us to he or she or they, to the gods. And sometimes people get in our way. They get in the way of our divinity. They get in the way of our sovereignty. They get in the way of our freedom. Sometimes some people are too stupid to take our warnings. Sometimes they take our decency for weakness. And they push to the place where they find out what a bunch of badasses we really are. And sometimes we have to rise up. We don't want to rise up, but sometimes we have to rise up. And like Thomas Jefferson said, we have to fertilize the tree of liberty with the blood of what they call saints. The saints of that religion are really the ain'ts. The saints of that religion, ladies and gentlemen, are the sacred holy ones of the rat bastards religion, the ones that want to take away our divinity, take away our sovereignty, take away our freedom, and right now we're trying to take away our country. We've tried to be nice. We've tried to be decent. We've tried to get along. But now you have pushed too far. And if you continue to push too far, you're going to find yourself springing leaks. You're going to find yourself springing leaks. Because we're not going to back down. We don't care about your plastic Jesus. See, you get too close to that button. We don't care about your plastic Jesus. We don't care if you're a witness for Jesus, Jehovah, or any damn body else. We're divine, we're sovereign, we're free. You go and live the way you want to live, but don't you dare infringe upon us, or you might start springing a leak or two. And you're going to be amazed at us. Marveled, wondered, and deep down you're going to admire us because you're going to say, we didn't think they had it. We thought that they were scared. We didn't realize they were just decent. We thought they were afraid. We didn't realize that they had true bravery and true valor. We thought that they were going to let us take them over. We didn't realize that they were just being as decent as they could for as long as they could. And then we pushed them too far, and we started springing leaks. And they kicked our butts so fast and ran us out of their places so fast that we were amazed at what they did. Why are you so amazed? Because those bitches are crazy. They got that fullness, and they got that tenfold power. They're bad mamba jambas. I don't want you to have to find out how bad we are. I don't want you to have to find out what we're capable of. I don't want you to have to find out what we'll do to defend this republic. I don't want you to have to find out what we'll do to defend our nation. I don't want you to find out what we'll do to defend our country and our republic. Please stop now. Please stop now. We don't want you to have to see what we really are going to do. We don't want you to have to see it. We really don't want you to have to see it. But the big enemy that has to be defeated if you're part of the communist New World Order is American Enlightenment. It was the American Enlightenment which was the greatest danger. Religious nations don't scare the communist New World Order, but nations full of reasoned peoples aware of their divine sovereignty and freedom do scare the communist New World Order. American Enlightenment was based upon deism. Deism had to be defeated. It was co-opted by Christianity, a Lemish invention, and now deism is all but dead. Almost. Almost, ladies and gentlemen. Because there still is a people. There still is a people that still yearn to breathe free, that are still divine, that are still sovereign, and that are still free. This is how the communist New World Order plan comes together. The first part of their plan was to destroy the great Western powers and instill worldwide communism, aka the New World Order. At the time of the plan, the greatest Western powers were targeted initially, Russia and Germany. America was identified as potentially the most dangerous. It was the greatest potential enemy long term, and therefore it was deemed worthy of the application of the ultimate weapon, Bible prophecy. The USA is a great whore of Babylon because it's the greatest threat to the communist New World Order. Once again, Christianity and the Bible are proven to be communist organs and communist agents. What will you do? What will you do? It's up to you. What will you do? What will you do? And now, ladies and gentlemen, It's time for questions. Hell, it's even time for answers if you got them. It's time for questions. It's time for answers. That means I'm going to open up the phone lines. I should probably take my break first, but I'm not going to. We're going to just run straight into the calls. You can call the number that is over my left shoulder, 913-279-0831. 913-279-0831. We just have a few rules. You have to be polite. You have to be interesting. You have to get right to it. And we hope that you come strong and don't suck. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
You have to get right to it.
Oh, Jeff, let me turn it off. Yeah, real quick.
Thank you.
Turn that sound off.
It's John from Tulsa.
No, I did. Come on. I got it now. Okay. This is John in Tulsa. Boy, are you right on tonight.
Thank you,
Are
sir.
you there?
I'm here.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Man, these truths are self-evident. That's what Thomas Jefferson said.
They really are.
And,
they really are.
That means that we're divine, we're sovereign, we're free. That's self-evident. And there are some things, some truths in the Bible. They didn't originate with the Bible, but I want to bring one up real quick. And he said, go into your closet and pray. Don't do like the hypocrites and pray in the street.
Right.
And that closet is your mind, your inner place where nobody else can come. That's your higher self. And when you go in there, if you think and you use your thinking, you don't need a priest. You don't need a religion. The Creator made us in His image, or their images. I think they're advanced humans, the creators. They made us in their images, and they gave us a brain to be able to use. And if we don't use that brain, then we are going to be subject to any kind of organized religion. Let's say that. And I'm telling you, organized religion, when you go into an organized religion, what you're doing is limiting your brain and listening to what somebody else wants you to hear and do.
I've always said you check your brain at the door, John, and you do.
Yes, that's right. And so I'm just going to tell you right now, unfortunately, Japan had to learn the hard way. I watched my dad go through all this when he came back, everything. He was a patriot. I'm from a long line of patriots. And I'm telling you right now, I'm 73 years old, and I watched my son die from cancer. He fought through that and turned into a little starving kid like in Africa. I know what it's like to see hell, living hell. And if you dare come into my face and say anything to me about taking over this country, you will have hell to pay, because I'm not afraid to die right in your presence if that's what it takes.
And you're not.
That's all I got to say, man.
You're not alone, John. It's an honor to stand beside you. And if we have to, we prefer not to, but if we have to, we will fight for this country. And if we have to, we will die for this country. Thank you, John.
Don't be like Japan out there. I'm just telling you, don't be like them. Don't make that same mistake.
Nope. Thank you, John. I appreciate it so much. Powerful, powerful words. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Mr. Daugherty, what's up, cousin? This is Daryl Varney.
Hey, Daryl. How you doing, my friend?
Doing great, man. I missed you all last week. And when I say I missed you, I mean literally. I really did miss you. I didn't get to tune in.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. On tonight's basis, you're talking, and I hear you and a lot of people refer to it a lot about America being based on a Christian religion.
I say that it wasn't, right? We're clear on that.
Correct. You do say that, and a lot of people say that, but a lot of people say the opposite.
And they're wrong.
And in your defense, and in the defense of what you're speaking of, and what I believe, and what I've studied and seen, I haven't heard you bring it up, or anyone else. So I wanted to bring up this thing called, and I'm sure you've heard of it, the Treaty of Tripoli. It was a treaty signed in 1796 by, I think it was John Adams. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in this treaty, are you familiar with it? Just real quick, yes or no?
Just barely.
Okay, well, in it, he states that, here, let me find a picture of it real quick. He states that America is not based upon a Christian religion. Basically, let's see.
Yeah.
The government of the United States is not, in any sense, founded on the Christian religion. Now, this was in a treaty that they wrote in 1796 that had to do with the Muslims,
right,
and pirates and everything.
It was written in
But
Tripoli, which I've been to Tripoli in North Africa.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I believe that. But why would an American president put such a stipulation in a treaty if it wasn't true? Right? Like, why?
That's
would
a great question. That's a great point, and of course, I agree with you. That's a very powerful point.
And not only that, let's see. There were several other presidents who made comment. Let's see. Thomas Jefferson said, "Christianity is the most perverted system that ever shone on man."
Yep.
Benjamin Franklin said, "I have found Christian dogma unintelligible."
Right.
John Adams said, "This would be the best all possible worlds if there were no religion in it."
Very true.
So, and the thing that stands out to me tonight is for your listeners to research the Tripoli, Tripoli, I believe.
Tripoli.
Tripoli. Thank you.
It's a city.
Treaty, and I can't get into all the stipulations of what it was about and everything. But I know that one of the major things that's always stood out to me for the past 5 or 6 years since I discovered it was that John Adams said that the United States government was not built upon a Christian nation.
You're very, very, very correct. I appreciate you bringing that up. Mother Denver says, "We left England to get away from religion, and these effers followed us here." You're so right, Mother of Denver. And we have a person on hold for a long time. Thank you for holding on so long. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty. Thank you for holding on. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, first-time caller. Really enjoy your show.
I'm very glad that you called. Thanks so much. What's on your mind?
Hey, so first thing I thought of at tonight's program was Rudyard Kipling's poem, When the White Man Begins to Hate. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No, I'm not, but I'm going to look it up. It sounds fascinating.
Check it out. And he also wrote Rikki Tikki Tavi,
Mm-hmm.
which we're almost the same age. And when I was a boy, that was one of my favorite cartoons. I don't remember Disney that did it, but it was about this mongoose who was the pet of the family.
I remember.
He protected him from a cobra that came in.
Yep.
So that's symbology there.
Absolutely.
And also, kind of going back to Kipling's When the White Man Begins to Hate is, I haven't done any research yet, but the comic book character, the Incredible Hulk, you know, he can take it, but at some point, so I haven't researched it yet, but it seems like that's based on something.
You know what? You know, of course, the great line is, "Don't make me angry. You won't like me when you're angry."
Yeah.
And I just want to say that to all of our enemies, both foreign and domestic. If you're here in the United States, and if you're BLM, if you're Antifa, if you're a supporter of either one of those, and if you think that you're going to come and take our cities, if you think you're going to take our guns, if you think you're going to take our homes, if you think that you are going to take our liberty, if you think that you're going to take our freedom, don't make us angry. You won't like us when we're angry.
Yeah.
Anything else on your mind? That's a great point.
Good. I'm glad you took my call. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope you'll call again. You won't like us when we're angry. And you got us this close. We're warning you to stand down. We will accept you living in this country. We will not accept you trying to run it. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Are you ready for a revolution?
I am ready for a revolution if we have to fight it, Delaney.
Reclaiming Earth, visibly omnipotent, loving universally through intentional omnipotence now.
I hope that we can do it that way. I really do. It's my heart's desire. That's the kind of revolution we need, Delaney.
It's a revolution.
That's the kind of revolution we need. Thank
that
you
is
so
from
much.
Nat Turner himself.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Delaney. Great, great stuff. Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, how's it going, Jeffrey?
It's going great. What's on your mind?
I've been on hold for a while, so I'm not quite exactly sure where we're at, but I wanted to bring this up. This is where you're at too, right? The Council of Nicaea. Okay, forget that. But then after that, how many hundreds of years they hunted down probably Christians and Druids? What do you think about that?
What do I think about them hunting down people that didn't agree with them?
Yeah.
You know, in a
for 200 years.
You know, in a sense, they're still doing it now. I'm living proof. All these Christians that don't agree with me, they hunt me down. They come and they try to do violence on my channel. They try to troll my chat room. If they knew where I lived, well, they probably wouldn't come because they know what would be headed back their way. But Christians have always done violence to those that don't agree with them, and they always will.
You're saying, though, if they doxed you, it wouldn't surprise you a bit?
It wouldn't surprise me a bit.
Anyway, so I just, like, you know, you and I, we're kind of like following certain paths, but I just want to bring this up quickly. I live right by where that train derailed.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that?
No, but that's a terrible thing. Sorry to hear that.
It's all good, but it could be sabotage. Just saying. But anyway, Jeffrey, I appreciate what you're doing, and we live in crazy times. And so, do you think Judaism was actually good or bad? Was it the Romans that made it bad, and the Roman Catholic Church?
Well, you know,
just a little tidbit.
History is written by the winners. The Romans were the winners, and what we really know about Druidism was filtered through the Romans, so we really don't know about Druidism. I think that the Druids are probably like most other people that were not Christian. They were people that had their own national religion, their own natural religion, and the Druids were probably a bunch of, I would rather live with a bunch of Druids than a bunch of Christians any day. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeff. I really wanted to comment on the Treaty of Tripoli, 1792. I was going to say when I was in college, I wrote a report that said "One Nation under God," and argued the point that America was founded as a Christian nation. And let alone did I know that it was really deism that it was founded upon.
Right.
So that was a little wake up call for me personally. Also, that other caller was talking about a poem that is "When the Saxon Begins to Hate" is the poem is actually called.
Interesting. Is what do you think the point was that he was making with it?
Well, it's basically about uprising and embracing divinity.
Excellent.
So I highly recommend it, and calls have been great so far, and I'm looking forward to hearing more.
Absolutely. Thanks for calling in. I really appreciate it. Yep, they have been great. Thanks for holding on. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Yes, Jeff, this is Mario here.
Hello, Mario.
Hey, did you hear about the stimulus package today?
I heard a lot about the stimulus package. What exactly are you referring to? What catches your mind?
Oh, it's like 5,000 pages, and they got all kinds of stuff in there like you wouldn't believe.
And nobody even read it, right?
No one really read it. No.
You know who did read it? People that worked for Donald Trump read it. And you know what they found in it? They found tucked away in this omnibus bill a little clause that agreed that President Trump would not invoke the Resurrection Act, the Insurrection Act. Do you believe that one?
I don't think so.
So, in other words, President Trump is going to veto this bill. He's not going to sign it because he's not going to give up his right to invoke the Insurrection Act. And if the Democrats are afraid of it, you know it's real, and get ready, because ready or not, here it comes.
Well, he passed an executive order in 2018 in reference to the voter fraud stuff.
He did. Very specific.
Yeah, and it seems it might relate with that. But they have things in that bill like they're going to build borders for other countries, and I think Jordan is one of them.
They have something in the bill for gender studies in Egypt.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Not going to happen.
We haven't even covered the tip of the iceberg yet, from what I understand.
We haven't.
In there. It's
not going to happen.
No, I don't think he's going to go for that.
No, he's going to veto it, and he should.
And he also said tonight, it was brought up that we're going to get $600 per person. He said tonight it should be about $2,000 per person and $4,000 for a couple.
And if you take out the money for gender studies and all the other pork they put in it, you could probably do that for people. Thanks for calling. Those are great points. And we need to get on the phone and call our representatives, even though you probably won't get through. Call them and tell them that you're against it and demand that they take proper action. It's late night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Good evening, Jeff.
Good evening.
Hey, since we're talking about the stimulus, something that's bothered me all day.
The stimulus package. I find that funny, but anyway.
Anyway, I said it wrong. Okay, they're basing it on your 2019 tax return gross income.
Okay.
Well, say I'm a waitress and I made $76,100, so I don't get a stimulus package.
You must be a hell of a waitress.
I know, huh? The tips are great. The thing is, the pandemic of 2020 affected my income. But now I don't get any $600 check because I made more than $6,000 though.
Wow, that's terrible.
I know. See, how did Pelosi and them figure this out? I mean, does he not?
Well, guess what? I know this doesn't come as a revelation to you, but Pelosi and them don't give a shit about you.
I get that, yeah. So they could care less about the people that were affected by the pandemic. It's just numbers to them.
By the pandemic that was largely created by forces that they're complicit with.
True. Yeah.
It's a sad situation. It really is. It's a super sad situation. And we need to, and I mean, you're a perfect example. I mean, you don't have to go to college. I don't know if you win or not. You don't have to go to college and get all of these debts. You can find yourself a skill and you can build yourself a life. And there's ways out there to get yourself into a place of financial security. And it's time for us to start getting creative. And I salute you for, you're obviously a very talented person. You do great at your chosen profession, and hopefully they'll get out of your way and let you get back to work.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've got other crafts on my plate that I take care of myself. I do well.
Excellent.
But it bothers me that they come up with that and think that they got the answers for everybody, and they have no clue how people really live.
Well, the rich are evil anyway. If you made over $76,000, you're obviously a very evil person, and you don't deserve any money. It's crazy.
No, I don't.
It's crazy. Okay. Thank you for calling, sweetheart. I appreciate it. That's a great call, and that's a great American, folks. And another thing that goes unnoticed, and it kind of went unnoticed by me even for a long time, because they've got us locked down now. The United States is being locked down. New York is locked down. California is locked down. The province of Ontario is going under lockdown. That's where Toronto is. That's the population center of Canada, the industry center, the business center of Canada. And it's all locked down. We can't go to the factories anymore and work. We can't go to our jobs anymore and produce. America's locked down. Funniest thing, though, you know who's not locked down? China. China's not locked down. I'm sure it's just a coincidence that a year ago when this pandemic, this stupid 19, this control of virus, when it all started, we were kicking China's ass and taking names. We were kicking more chins than a Chinese phone book. And this thing happened, and now we're locked down, and they're producing and making. I'm sure it's just a coincidence. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeffrey, just real quick. I'm in Washington. I got Governor Inslee, right? He's the best. Yeah. So I've been waiting 6 weeks for unemployment. They're like, I'm good to go, but they keep messing with me. So here's what I realized the other day. I don't know if it's true, but this is what I'm thinking they're going to do.
Okay.
So they've been keeping me waiting 6 weeks, all right? Other people too. I think they're going to make it to where to get your unemployment, you have to take the vax.
I knew that you were coming with that. I knew that you were coming with that. Are they going to try? Are they going to try to tie? I'm asking the rods. Are they going to try to tie your unemployment, your stimulus to the acceptance of the vaccine? The rods say yes. Wow, I think you're right. I think you're right.
And I have goosebumps.
Oh my, I think you're right.
Jeffrey, you know what? We're at this point as Americans. We've been in like a daze, like in a hypnosis state. We better either wake the fuck up pretty quick, or it's going to be too late.
You're absolutely right. And now's the time. It's wakey, eggs and bakey.
I know. You know what? I've actually unsubscribed to you a few times, and I keep coming back, right?
It doesn't surprise me. I'm an asshole sometimes. I really am. That should be my song.
So am I.
I'm an asshole.
You know what? We're both born in '63, right? That almost dictates that we are controversial.
Is that the year of the asshole in the Chinese? I'm kidding.
It's the year of the rabbit and the cat.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes we hop a little fast, don't we? And sometimes we scratch. But really we're lovers. But sometimes we do go off. But I appreciate it, and you've hit on a big secret there. And it's time for us. We've been too decent for too long, and it's time for us to take back what is ours. Anything else on your mind?
Well, to end on that, time's running out.
It is. It's over. It's now time.
All right. Love you, brother.
You too. Thanks so much. Great call. It's Late Night in the Heartland. Thanks for holding your live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Good evening, Jeff.
Good evening.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. So how are you thinking about the COVID stimulus? What are you thinking about that?
What do I think about it?
Yeah.
In what regard? I'm not sure. That's a pretty broad question. I don't really know how to answer it.
Yeah. So you think it's going to be effective, or you think it's going to be misused mainly?
You mean the money that people are getting?
Yeah.
The whole reason that this is being done is to try to get people to become dependent upon this so-called living wage from the government. And all a living wage from the government within a communist system is it's not really a living wage. It's only a living wage if you're willing to live on the low end of mediocrity. And they're trying to get people used to this communist style living wage. And They're trying to take away from the entrepreneurs and the movers and the shakers and the people that have built and made this country great. They're trying to neuter all of us. And we have to say no. That's what I think about the stimulus package.
Yeah.
The only stimulus package I want is right here. It's late night. It's late night in the heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeffrey.
I got your stimulus package right here.
Tonight. Are you there?
I'm here. I was being silly. I said, I got your stimulus package right here.
Oh, actually, that's what I was calling about, that last caller. That's what they've been doing in Canada. I was just going to say to everybody there in the United States, if you are concerned about this, Canada has already set out the Liberal Party, which is run by our Communist Party leader there, Mr. Justin Trudeau. He's already laid out a whole plan that most of it actually is coming into effect, that was actually leaked to the press, leaked out to everybody back in October, which includes what they call the CERB, or it's a supplemental income for those people who are being affected by closures and things like that, their businesses. But it extends past that. What he was saying, do you think that they will, withhold, say, your unemployment income, et cetera, if you refuse, say, to get the vaccine or something along those lines? Wasn't he saying something like that?
Well, the caller was, I don't know what they're going to do in Canada, but I could see that being they might even go as far as saying that if you are, I don't know how they would surveil it, but then it may come down to, if you're not wearing your mask, you're not getting your check. It could come down to that level.
Oh, they've already accosted teenagers playing hockey on the ice in Calgary just this week.
Are you serious?
Yeah, there's a video. You can see it. Everybody's just completely outraged. It's gone way too far.
Now, I was a goalie. Yeah. Do you think they would check under my mask to see if I had a mask?
You know what? All of the policies, including these lockdowns. First of all, the lockdowns were, the World Health Organization came out, Dr. David Nabarro, and said, only use these in extreme circumstances. It's only when you know that your hospitals are going to get overloaded. And if you look at the numbers, the ratio of people in the, that are sick, that are in the hospitals, that are dying and everything, it doesn't justify a lot of policies that they have in place right now.
And it shows they're making up deaths. These people are not there. I mean, nobody's dying of heart attack. Nobody's dying of heart disease. Nobody's dying of cancer, because they're taking those numbers and putting them into the COVID column, because people aren't dying of COVID.
Exactly. Actually, one of these other groups I belong to just came out with a study this week, and it showed the last, I think, 5 years, the number of people who have died in Canada every single year. The numbers are just a tiny bit lower than the average for the last 5 years.
Yep.
So, a pandemic like in the Spanish flu, when that came out, 150 million people died in a matter of, a year? And you look at what's happening worldwide right now, it's not even close to being a pandemic. It's ridiculous. But
it's a plandemic.
It is. I call it a case-demic, because it's all about these cases.
Oh, that's great. It really is. And cases are not sick people.
No. And as a matter of fact, cases, the actual medical terminology for it is, a case is when somebody needs medical intervention. And most people who get tested positive don't even have any symptoms. And if they do, it's like a cold.
Right.
But back to that caller too, just for a second, I want to when I first talked to you, I told you that I was banned off of the CBC here in Canada for life.
Oh, the CBC, really?
Yeah, for life, for this Liberal Party member who leaked this information about what the Liberal government of Canada has planned for this whole pandemic, the policies going forward and stuff, which reminded me of it when that caller called, was I posted a link to a government website. It's called buyandSellSomething.ca. It's the government when they put out bids, tenders for things, right? And I just posted that the government put out a request for information for quarantine sites across Canada.
Yeah, I saw that.
25.
I saw that that debate in one of the houses. I think in one of your governmental houses.
That's right. In Ontario, one of the independents brought that to everyone's attention. And then also the fact that they had a RFQ out there for 36,000 canisters of tear gas to be to arrive by March 2021.
Wow.
Yeah, so we were kind of like, well, concerned about it.
Do you see the
links
picture?
And then got banned.
Do you see the picture that's on the screen right now?
No, I had to walk away from the TV because my husband was still watching. But let me go back and see. Hang on.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I see a petri dish.
Yeah, that somebody wore their mask for a day, and they took a swab of the outside of their mask, and this is what grew on the outside of their mask after just a day's usage. Now,
yes.
Let me show you what grew on the inside of the mask after a day's usage. 1 day's usage of these masks, which are supposed to be protecting you. This is what grew on the inside of the mask.
I'm just waiting for the picture to come up here. Or maybe that's what oh, God.
That's the inside of the mask.
Yeah, well.
And you're telling me that's going to keep you healthy. Yeah.
Us exhaling, everything that we exhale or excrete out of us, it needs to come out of our body for a reason.
Yeah.
And we don't want to trap that on our faces.
That's what you're rebreathing right there.
Yeah. That looks like when I was a teenager, some cheese I left alone for a while.
Exactly. Only worse, man. It's horrible. It's horrible what they're doing to us. And that was my lovely wife, Cynthia, found those pictures. She's a great researcher.
Yeah, well, actually, yesterday when you were talking about Fauci, I was going to call in, but I couldn't because I was laughing too hard with everybody else's call. But I was going to mention, too, the U.S. Surgeon General also said for people to stop buying masks and wearing masks.
He did at the beginning. Don't wear your mask and don't buy them because we need the emergency people to be able to have them. The mask in Fauci, of course, was quoted as saying it's largely symbolic. And it is. It's symbolic of our being slaves and our being muzzled and our being unable to communicate with each other.
Well, and if people weren't wearing masks, how would we be reminded every day about it, right?
It's all about fear.
It is, and control.
And guilt. It's the fear and guilt, blood magic, mind control matrix. How can you not wear a mask? Don't you care about my grandma?
I was going to say, guilt. Almost sounds like Christian religion.
It does. Anything else on your mind?
Pardon me?
Anything else on your mind?
Oh, no. Just thanks so much for being there. We love watching your show.
Well, you know what? You making these calls is what makes the show. I thank you so very much. Give your husband my best.
I will for sure. Thank you.
Take care. Wow. Late night in the heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hi, Jeffrey. This is Renita from Nebraska.
Hello, Renita. What's up tonight?
Well, I had my husband had an interesting conversation today. I thought I'd tell you about.
Okay, let me hear about it.
He went to a neighboring town's lumber yard and to get his Christmas present, which they usually have candy sitting out, but because of COVID, they can't have their candy sitting out. So
wow,
they got into a conversation about the mask, and he said that the guy that he was talking to said he's got a friend in Denver that has a dentistry office.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fairly large. I think he said there's like 15 dentists.
Wow.
In there. Yeah. And he said that this guy's going to make a mint because of all the people that are coming in from wearing their mask all day.
Ooh, yeah. I didn't even think about the dental implications.
Yeah. He said it's really a mess. He said he can't keep up he's had to hire extra help and everything.
Wow. When the dentist business is a booming, oh man, I mean that there's a joke in there somewhere. I mean, great for the dentist, but wow, not only is it wrecking our respiratory systems, not only is it making cancer explode in our body by lack of oxygen, but it's also causing dental problems, and it makes perfect sense. There's a reason why you exhale. Same reason why you defecate and urinate.
Yeah. You got to get that out of your system. So.
Oh, when are we gonna wake up and just say enough's enough?
Well, I don't know. That's what has me so disappointed, is trying to share with family and stuff that you don't need those masks.
You don't. And I never wear one, and I tell everybody I can about them. What else is on your mind? And we appreciate your call.
Well, I just discovered tonight there's a website out there that you might be interested in called World News Spell.
World News what?
Spell. SPELL. And this guy is an author. His name's Stephen Perkins.
Okay.
And he writes about, everything. He's got an article there about Kamala Harris and Trump and all of them, basically.
Well, that sounds like something I'll check out.
Yeah, and he's got lots of reference links to everything that he writes about. So.
Excellent. I'll check him out. Thanks for sharing that.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. I really enjoy. I look forward every night to staying up and watching your show.
Well, I look forward to you calling. I really do, and I appreciate those words more than you know. And thank you so much for taking time to call, and thank you for holding your live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hi, Jeffrey. This is Tracy Cooper. How are you doing, buddy?
Hey, Tracy. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Hey, the caller that said that we're running out of time.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think that he's, pretty correct. I saw where GM, AMC Theaters, General Electric, are owned by China companies now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. There's like 25 corporations that the Cleveland Cavaliers.
The Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, the whole NBA is complicit with the CCP. It's horrible. Cynthia's still awake.
Well,
what's up with that?
Well.
Yeah, I mean, and it's so important that we realize who these people are that are complicit with the CCP, and we stop spending money. We stop watching the NBA. We stop watching the NFL. We stop watching the NHL. We've just got to stop doing it. We've got to tell them that we got to show them that we're pissed off and we're not going to take it anymore.
Well, there's, when he says we're running out of time, the time is going to come to where the shot heard around the world is going to happen. What other alternative do we have when we stop spending money?
Well, there is an alternative, and the alternative is that they can stop this before they push us too far. Because as soon as they push us too far and it pops off, you can't put the genie back in the bottle.
Yeah, well, I just, that just popped into my mind, all that stuff, when he said that, it's got to stop.
And trust me, when my wife says we must fight back, things have done got really bad, because she is literally, her and my oldest daughter are in a tie for the nicest person I've ever met in my life. And when Cynthia says we must fight back, it is time to fight back. Thank you for that call. It's a great call. That's a great call. Wow. We must fight back. I'm not sure what Mimi Cross is saying. I'm not sure what she's saying, but sounds a little, I don't know. I'll just leave it at that. It's late night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeff, I wanted to recommend a subject for a video.
Okay.
Relating scientism to MK Ultra indoctrination.
Scientism and MK Ultra indoctrination. I like that.
And how it connects to spirituality through magic.
And MK Ultra, scientism and MK Ultra, what was the next word?
And how it relates to magic of intention.
Oh, that's good.
Because you hint on it in so many other discussions on other shows, but connecting it all together to make a really clear and concise point that they're trying to usurp divinity.
And, you know, they're talking right now about nebulizers in the chat room. And I know it sounds like a blatant commercial, but I've got these, you know, these nebulizers that we offer through the Mantra oils. What are those oils called? Essential oils. And it's a great thing. And yeah, you need to, you can put the colloidal silver in there and all kinds of stuff. It's powerful, powerful stuff that Marco and Cynthia are talking about that. You're right, Brandon. And there's so many connections to that. Scientism is putting us under a spell. MK Ultra is putting us under a spell. And what we have to do is stop. We need to start doing our own spelling.
We need to start investigating real science, like Dr. Royal Rife talking about frequency and Dr. Joseph.
I'm all over it, man. I'm so deep into that. I've just about decided I'm going to roll that out. It's going to change our lives because we've got to get ourselves, you know, the medical mafia has to be defeated, and we've got to get ourselves so we can keep ourselves healthy and whole, you know, save for broken legs and arms and stuff like that. And unfortunately, the medical mafia is in such a position where we can't afford to deal with them anymore, except in cases of great emergency.
Right. And they are literally trying to genocide people through health.
Well, you know, Cynthia makes a great point. You know, the pandemic came out of China, and I'm sure it's just a coincidence. I'm sure there's nothing that is any real connection here. But just before the China virus started, it was starting to get into the mainstream media in China. And when it's in the mainstream media in China, it's really loose, that they were having a crisis because of the one-child policy was leaving a huge surplus of aged Chinese with no one to take care of them. And they were becoming a huge strain on the social system. And son of a gun, they all started dying from the China virus. I'm sure.
Well,
that
Japan
there's no connection.
has that problem too, Jeff.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Look at New York and what Cuomo has done.
Imagine that.
Nursing homes. Jeff, my grandmother, who's 91, got the coof, and they didn't put her on a respirator, thank God, and she lived.
Good for her.
But she had bacterial pneumonia from wearing a mask all the damn time.
Of course, and there's going to be more and more people with that. Our oldest, our youngest, it's just horrible.
They are trying to kill off the most wise of our generation.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. I didn't think about that aspect. They are trying to kill those that remember what it's like to be a real American.
Those that remember the Spanish flu, those that remember the Dust Bowl, the Great Depression, the First World War, the Second World War.
Are real historians. They're killing them off.
Yeah, because that is how we initially pass along our traditions, is around campfires, through legends and stories. That is what paganism was.
Yeah.
Is.
That's so true, Brandon. That is a great point. They're trying to take away the wisdom of our forefathers.
embrace white well-being, embrace Aryanism. I don't care what race you are, be the best of who you are.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you. Thanks for calling.
Yes.
It's time for everyone to be the best they can be so that all of us can be the best that we can be. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, so I recently discovered your channel a little while ago when you made that video in 2017 about Yahweh being found dead in China.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Worried about it. I've been trying to follow up on it. I haven't been able to find anything. Do you know where he may have gone after that?
That was they found a thing that looked like a dead dragon, so I just made a funny little video. I don't really think it was Yahweh, and I think that he's probably off and run away anyway, turn tail and run, but I don't think it was really Yahweh.
You think he could resurge with the 3 planets lining up recently?
No. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that's my opinion. I think that he is a usurper. I don't even know his name. I'm sure his name isn't even Yahweh. He just uses that name. I think he's a puny little frightened. He's like the wizard behind the curtain. He's a little bitch, and he's got people thinking that he's a badass, but we've called him out. I think he's probably gone, and I think it's time for us to take over and be divine, sovereign, and free.
Okay. Thank you for your soothing words. Have a nice night.
I appreciate it. Thanks for calling. Boy, that was an old video. And I downloaded all my videos. I've got them on a drive. Do you want those videos at $100 for all of them, all 3,000 on a drive? Or is that too much and I shouldn't worry about it? Let me know what your opinions are. I appreciate it. Late Night in the Heartland, you're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hi, Jeffrey. How are you?
I am fantastic. How are you?
I'm good. I've called before, and I wanted to call and piggyback on what the gentleman before was saying about killing off the old people and remembering the past.
Yeah, that was a great point.
I also think they're trying to steal the wealth because most of the wealth is tied up in the older people.
Ooh, good point.
They have the homes. Yeah, and it's a total wealth transfer because when those people die, if they have relatives, of course, they're going to have to pay taxes. And if they don't have relatives, their property is going to go to the state, yada, yada, yada. And I think it's also, a wealth transfer scam.
I think you're absolutely right. That's a great point.
All right. Well, thanks. I'll let you get back to other people, and hopefully we can get through this. But
we will, and that's a great question or a great point. Thank you for calling in and sharing that. There's so many aspects of what they're doing to us. There's so many aspects of what they're doing. Angela saying that she's disgusted. I agree with her. Tracy saying that they've done it in the past so they can rewrite. Is this kind of the new mud flood? Is this the new mud flood, so to speak? Marco has a theory from Cancun. The first people that were hospitalized with pneumonia were killed by respirators in the hospital. Yeah, I think that's verifiable, Marco. I think that's verifiable. I really do. Cynthia agrees with you too, so you're right on track if Cynthia agrees to you. Marco, Tracy agrees with you. They are a death sentence. They really are. Cynthia says this is the new mud flood. This is what they want to call the Great Reset, but we're going to turn it into a great awakening, and we're going to turn it into a great ass kicking. Late Night in the Heartland, you're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Hey, Jeff, I wanted to also mention that I think a lot of these vaxes are being injected in people to make them contagious, to expose us to something that may be worse.
Cynthia was talking about that today. She was talking about, how since this dosum whist and this whole thing that we've had was really a joke because no more people are dying. It's really not killing. They say it's killed 300,000. They just subtract 300,000 from other deaths. It hasn't killed 300,000. But Cynthia says, what if it's a dry run for them rolling out something else that's real?
Well, Tim Pool earlier this evening was talking about nobody's seeing caskets lining up in their community.
Ooh, hey, Brandon, do you have like Brandon? Do you have like 45 seconds worth of talk you can do?
Yeah.
All right, I'll be right back.
Earlier on Timcast IRL, they were talking about how in this pandemic that supposedly millions of people are being affected by, that they're dying from this virus that has a 99.96 survivability rate if you have no comorbidity or you're above the age of like 60, that you are going to survive it. It's basically a bad flu, and the only reason why people are getting sick is, again, because of bacterial pneumonia. They're wearing these disposable masks and infecting themselves. So that is evidence enough that there are not enough people that are catching this dosum whist that is making them sick enough to die. So to ramp up the fear and the chaos, they need to infect people via this vaccine that they quote unquote call a cure for a disease that, again, has a 99.96 survivability rate. And so it's being produced by these major manufacturers, being sent from these companies via UPS and FedEx, which is not what was said would be done by the military. So I think they are purposefully injecting people with this experimental injection that is going to make people sick and make them contagious so that it will create a real pandemic and more people will catch on to a worse strain and start to die from it.
That's I don't like to think along those terms, but yeah, I mean, it sounds like, it's certain you can't put anything past these psychopaths.
They are literally so deluded that they would get people hooked on a substance that is so similar in protein chains to their drug of choice, adrenochrome, that they would make something of a bastardized version of that to get people hooked so that they come back for the second and the third injections.
You know what? You may be right, Brandon. You may be right. Wow,
it is literally just, it's beyond a beggar's description.
It's horrible. It's horrible. Brandon, thanks so much for the call. I wanted to say, yeah, this somebody's been on hold a long time. It's Late Night in the Heartland. You're live with Jeffrey Daugherty.
Jeff.
Yes.
I can't even believe I got through. What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing? I'm doing great. What's on your mind? We got about 6 minutes left.
Okay, this is Matt Belair.
This is Matt Belair? The Matt Belair?
Yeah, buddy. That's right, man.
Matt, it was you that started me off on the polar plunge, and I don't think I've missed maybe 1 or 2 days since we first talked, and it's changed my life. I want to thank you for that.
Oh, dude, it's amazing. Yeah, it's getting winter up here in Canada, and I got to ramp up to doing it again, and it sucks, but it does something good. It's something good for the soul and the body, and we need tough people that are going out in nature and understanding what we're capable of. So
absolutely.
I'm glad you're doing that wherever you are. Okay, dude. Well, I've been watching the show recently. I've always been a fan of your work. You've been on my podcast a bunch, so I hope we get to catch up on a deep talk. So I wanted to ask your opinion on these guests I've had on recently, and these are people that can go into court and they can win any case. They don't have to pay taxes. You know how you hear that, and you're like, yeah, right, you're going to go to jail, basically. Well, these people are apparently legit. They've been on my show. One of the guys' names is Cal Washington. The other guy is Mark Patelik out of Australia. And they say that the Bible is the highest agreement, or I don't even know how to phrase it because I'm such a noob at all this stuff of common law and natural law. But they're saying that when they go into court, they were using things like calling in the watchers. This is what Cal said on one of his podcasts, and had these judges walk out because this is the agreement. And apparently the Queen swears on 2 Bibles. And underneath is a 1611 King James Bible. And I remember when you were on my podcast and I said, yo, what is going on? And you said, well, there's going to be a second coming of Jesus Christ, and it's going to be basically a hologram type of deal. And I was like, how do you know this? And you said from translating from the Greek Bible. So I wanted to know your opinion on how that could access the court systems and how you see things moving forward.
You know, Matt, I really appreciate your work, and tell everybody what your YouTube channel is called, so they can pick up on your work.
Yeah, so they're gonna probably have to find me out. Matt Belair is on YouTube, but I got deleted everywhere. In shadow banned and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so I got and even my personal accounts too. All my personal stuff, work at like 6 years. So our episode, so YouTube is probably on its last leg. So I've had to go elsewhere. So it's crazy, man.
Where can they find you?
So I can't even believe you're still going. Why did I get deleted?
I know I'm pushing hard, but you know, Matt, without hearing, I just wrote down Cal Washington's name. Without hearing what he's saying, and you know, without being able to look at it, it's hard for me to venture a guess. It sounds fascinating, but it also makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. If the Bible has power in the system, knowing what I know about the Bible, is it another way to get us to make a deal with the devil, so to speak, to defeat this other devil? But then the enemy of my enemy is my friend. This is a whole fascinating area. We're going to have to get together and talk about this, because I would really like to know more about this, because it's really piqued my interest.
Yeah, man, I hear you, and I think you're the king in this, and so I would love for you to sit down and talk with him, because the way that he frames it, he's got himself out of these situations. It's all about jurisdictions, and the highest law being like the creator, and not God specifically, but the creator, and moving past the manipulations of how religions have been used in the past to understand it from maybe a holistic sense.
Maybe we could do a three-way show, Matt.
Oh, dude, I would love it, but I think it's got to be you and Cal if I can make it happen and watch that happen, because you're a master, and I bow to your mastery, and I appreciate that. And I'll come on the next level. You know what I mean? I'll come on next time, because it's something I need to see. But what I do know for sure in this world is that
we got 1
Cal
minute, Matt,
and Mark have been successful in the courts to the point of doing, like, they don't have to worry about the system. They've actually been successful. So Mark has been discharging, what do you call, mortgages and
what's Mark's last
and different
name?
Things like that. Mark Patelik, his site's Solutions Empowerment.
Okay.
And Cal specifically was from do you know who Josh Del Sol is?
No.
Josh Del Sol he's a documentary filmmaker, researcher. He did one on the smart meters and how they were causing harm, releasing radiation, all that kind of stuff. So when he released that documentary, everybody was watching it, and they said, okay, we understand they're dangerous, but you've basically just told us that these things are dangerous, and now we have no solution. So you screwed us, essentially. You know, it's like, great, we know they're dangerous. Now we can do nothing. So people were telling them to find Cal Washington. Well, they found him, and he, through this notice of a liability, was able to discharge or make it so that people could remove the agreement from having the smart meter on their phones or smart meter on their houses. So
amazing. Matt, we're out of time. I got a hard end here with the shortwave show. Send me an email. I'll send you one. We'll get together. I really appreciate your work. Folks, it's Late Night in the Heartland. It's been a great, great show. So glad to have Matt Belair calling in. I've been looking forward to getting back in contact with him. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Late Night in the Heartland, and I want to thank you for making my day.